Yo everyone, so UFC Des Moines, Sandhagen vs Figueiredo just wrapped up, and overall, it was a pretty middling card with a few major takeaways. One of those was that although it was an unfortunate ending for Figueiredo to have, because he suffered from what looked like to be a very severe knee injury, Corey Sandhagen was putting on an absolute beatdown and masterclass in my opinion against Figueiredo and was on his way to getting a finish in that fight later on. But however guys, the biggest takeaway and result that really stole the show for me was watching Reinier De Ridder break bonickal down on the feet and get a vicious body shot TKO win over him in the second round. Not many people would have been picking Reinier De Ridder to win this fight. I sure as hell didn't pick him to win, but I think that the people that did pick him to win did not see it coming in the fashion that it happened. And when I did watch the finishing sequence take place and Reinier De Ridder got his hand raised, I only had one thought in mind, one statement in mind, if you will, and that statement was, I've seen this all before. I've been doubting Reinier De Ridder since he debuted in the UFC. I've literally picked against him in every single fight he's had so far up until this point, and I just can't ignore the similarities that he shares with another middleweight in Dricus Du Plessis when he was rising through the ranks and beating dudes in the UFC. He's an extremely similar case to Dricus Du Plessis, man. It's in more ways than one, not just his fighting style and him being the underdog in his fights. He's a very large middleweight, he can grapple, he isn't afraid to be scrappy, and his striking just looks like absolute crap sometimes. This was literally being said about Dricus Du Plessis in every single matchup he had on his way to the belt. I still remember picking Darren Till to beat Dricus Du Plessis back a couple years ago, since Darren was training with Hamzat at the time, I believe, and Dricus was just looking so sloppy on the feet. I really thought Darren Till would get the win there, and then he ended up going on to beat Darren Till, and then to beat Derek Brunson to get his shot at fighting Robert Whittaker. And I still remember everyone and their mother thought that Robert Whittaker was going to go out there and absolutely destroy Dricus Du Plessis and put on a masterclass of a lifetime against him. I also thought this, guys, and he went out there and not only won the first round, but finished Whittaker on the feet in the second round. And I'll say this to cap it all off as well, about his finish against bonickal in this fight. This wasn't a fluky finish at all, guys. This was done very technically. The knees to the body were extremely vicious and precise, and that's the sort of thing that will cause him to have potential success in the future matchups after this fight with bonickal. He's improved in his striking quite a bit. He was slipping very well in this fight. He had great output. He had great forward pressure. He fought great in the clinch. And as much as I underestimate the dude in terms of his future chances against the top 5 fighters in the middleweight division, I just need to give him the praise that he deserves when I do notice the things that he's doing in the fights, and they are genuinely impressive. That is literally 3 wins in a row in the UFC, all by finish, and now he's looking for a high-ranked opponent, and I think this all can't be understated and can't be said enough, guys, since this is the biggest part to why I believe there is a big comparison between him and DDP. There is solid technique and skill behind the sloppiness, guys. He did end up calling out Sean Strickland in the post-fight interview, and honestly, there is actually a chance they do end up making that fight, since all the other guys at the top of the division, I believe, are coming off of wins and are looking at fights either for the belt or for a #1 contender fight currently, and Strickland's coming off of 2 back-to-back losses against the champ. In regards to that matchup though, I do think that Strickland might be a little too much for him though, but I don't even know at this point anymore with Reinier De Ridder. The only other fighter though that I could see him potentially getting a matchup against is probably Robert Whittaker at this point, and I also don't even know how that matchup would go. I might end up picking Reinier De Ridder to win a fight actually for once if he does get matched up with Robert Whittaker, since I could see him potentially making the fight very dirty, very awkward, securing a takedown and doing very well on the ground with his BJJ. I also think that this will be the last time we ever hear bonickal's name in regards to Hamzat Chimaev as a future matchup. This shit will never be talked about again and is literally never going to happen. Bonickal has not built a cohesive version of his game together at this point. After seeing this fight, it was very evident. I was talking to a friend about this after the card. The guy has solid wrestling. He also has some pretty solid power in his hands with some decent technique, but he just does not have the output level or skill level to be winning the decision the way it looks like he wants to win, which is skating around on the outside, landing these pitter-patter jabs and 1-2s. And he just also doesn't seem to put together things as well as you'd hope for someone who's pretty much testing the waters in the rankings of the UFC. But then again, This is only Bonickal's 8th professional MMA fight, but the only reason why I don't really care about that fact is because I do think Bonickal puts that sort of pressure on himself with the way he talks with such confidence and such brashness about how good he is and how he would destroy top-level competition in the UFC. So I really do hope that this will be some sort of humbling and learning experience for him, so we can see some improvement in Bonickal in future matchups if he wants to try his hand at the rankings again. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to point out that Reinier De Ridder seems to have a lot of similarities with and is also following a similar path as our current South African middleweight champion, and if he manages to keep this up, we might see the dude fight for a belt within 1 to 2 more fights. In terms of my results for predictions and bets for this card though, guys, to just talk about that a little bit briefly here, I did break even in bets for the event, and I also went 8-4 on picks, which I don't think is too bad for this card, with a few upsets on it, a few underdog victories. Do let me know though in the comments below what you guys thought of Reinier De Ridder and Bonickal's performance overall. Who do you think they should verse next as well, and overall what you guys thought about the event. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you guys next time.